Hello, everybody. My name is Zach, and today we have a special interview for you all from Ambitious Entertainment with Cam Gorder, LA God. So let's get started. For everyone meeting you for the first time, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, um, Artist-wise, I go by Angelus, and I've been creating music for as long as I've kind of been alive. Come from a really musical family, and so I have a musical background, and so it's always been in my life. But just as of late, maybe in the past 5 or so years, I've really been taking my craft seriously and deciding that, I want to go down the path of a music career, and so I just kind of been working and grinding and getting stuff out because I'm ready.
Absolutely. Talk a little bit about the musical background that you mentioned. Was it family members that have always been interested in
Yeah.
music, or how'd that come about?
So my mom's whole family are musicians. So my uncles are kind of well-known Chicago musicians. They perform for a lot of big acts, like Jennifer Hudson and
Mhm.
others from Chicago. And they all kind of grew up in the church. So my mom, along with all of her siblings. But funny thing is that my grandparents sung as well. So it's kind of like the talent just trickled and trickled and trickled. So everyone in my family can sing and they can make music or even draw. So the arts just kind of run through. And so I've been surrounded by it my whole life. We'll have family meetings or like hangouts where we just all get to music and get together. We'll cook and then we'll all play music. And so it's just kind of like a bonding thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Would you say that your music is a little bit different than the kind of music that they created in past, or?
Yeah, very much so. I kind of march to the beat of my own drum. Very different from my family's music. But I mean, of course, I still draw inspiration from it. Like those are my roots,
Yeah.
essentially, gospel and soul, southern blues music. And so I feel like it bleeds through the walls of my music, but I definitely have my own style.
Absolutely. Um, Growing up in Chicago, how would you say the city or sort of the community has influenced your sound or your journey?
Well, Chicago is a very, very, very musically saturated place. I mean, there's music everywhere in the city.
Hmm.
A lot of big music acts come from the city. And so I feel like, especially with our city being based in like house music and also blues music, I feel like
Yeah.
those are pretty common influences that you pick up on when you're growing up in the city of Chicago. And then um, if you're younger, you may hear about like, the newer type of music, juke music, which juke isn't, it's not new, it's quite old, but it's just kind of another form of Chicago music that just kind of bleeds throughout the city. And I wouldn't say it has per se any type of influence directly to my music, but I feel like it's the city
Mhm.
that I'm in, it's the city that I grew up in and I was raised in, so it just kind of all melts in.
Gotcha. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you have your first official single is coming up, correct? You're dropping that soon?
It's out actually.
It's out now?
Yeah, it's out now everywhere.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. So talk a little bit about that and kind of you said you've been working on music for a while.
Yeah,
What has led up to this moment for your first official release, and why now?
a lot. A lot. If I could put it simply,
Mhm.
I decided that this was the direction I wanted to go in. I went through each trial. I was kind of like a happy-go-lucky kid, like, oh my God, I'm so, I want to release music so bad.
Mhm.
And every time I tried, I realized that there was just another layer of things that needed to get done. There were another layer of things that I didn't know about. So it took a lot of learning to get to this point because I got to the point where I was recording with engineers, I was recording with people and getting my songs mixed, and I was just like, this doesn't really sound the way I want it to, or I didn't know, and that I did not know the political side before I did now. So it was just a lot of hoopla before I was able to actually decide, you know what, I'm just going to do it on my own. So I actually engineered and mixed that track myself, and I got all the leases for it, and I put it out as an independent artist. And for me,
Mhm.
I don't think the song is perfect, but I don't strive for perfection. More importantly, it was just me needing to get it out because I wanted to prove to myself that I could, and I did, and I'm very proud of that.
Absolutely. And this is interesting because like I've interviewed multiple artists who are sort of been like releasing music for multiple years and like can look back at their first project with like some like it's so, like such a rear view mirror.
Yeah.
So like it's really cool to see that I'm talking to you as you're going through your first
Yeah.
single, and like that's so there's so much more to come.
Yeah.
How are you how are you feeling? Is it like a relief knowing that you finally have released
Yes.
something, or is it like a little nervous, or how would you say describe yourself?
No. The nerves were when I first wrote the song. That song was written last year. And so a lot of my
Mhm,
songs are old. Like I've been writing for years. Been
mhm.
writing for years, but I'm just now starting to put out some of these tracks. And so some I redo and I kind of innovate a little bit to more modern, add a little modern flair to it. But others I just kind of take, I'm like, you know what? I'm ready to put that out because I feel like my songs for me, they're kind of like time capsules. They're like snapshots of a specific moment that I'm in, of a specific feeling that I'm feeling, of a specific event that I've experienced. And I'm kind of translating that through music, through sound, through engineering, through vocals, through lyricism. And so when I put it out, yes, it's a very much so a relief because it's like I'm just taking everything I've been through, letting the world hear it, and I ain't gotta worry about it no more because it's out there.
Fair enough. What do you hope that people learn about you from your first release, or like what kind of direction do you hope they like take it, or how would you describe like your expectations?
My expectations are for people to just like hear it. Hear it. It's not anything that per se I feel like truly defines me, but it does in a sense. I remember how I felt when I wrote the song. I was almost like in a daze. I was just there. I turned on the beat and I was just like, flowing with it. And I had like a really, really, really rough, layout for it. And then I was like, you know what? Let me go back and edit it, and I did, and it came out really nicely. It's heavily inspired by 505 by Arctic Monkeys, if you know, you know. I
Yeah.
love that song, and so it's my own take on it, my own interpolation. It's kind of like I hopped into another world, per se, another point
Mhm.
of view, and I put it out through that perspective. And so looking at it and thinking about it from that, I just want people to be able to gauge the lyricism and gauge the creativity in it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I saw a snippet of that on your Instagram of
Yeah.
you sneezing it. Yeah, it's a very interesting like moment, I guess, in the song. I can only imagine. Um, talk a little bit about your. I know you mentioned your family has a huge musical background.
Yeah.
What were some of the art you to some of your favorite artists growing up, or like people that you take inspiration from now while creating music?
Everyone who knows me is gonna know I'm gonna say Beyonce. I grew up on Beyonce. My mom, she used to listen to it all the time. There is snippets that I might post someday of me dancing and like, performing to the Beyonce songs. And so she's influenced the way I've kind of gauged stage presence
Mhm.
because even before releasing music, I've been performing my whole life on all stages, like school stages, all throughout high school. I've done local festivals, and so I've grown my stage presence a lot, and Beyonce aided in that. But also, more recently, I've delved into a lot of um, Imogen Heap. She is like a
Oh
creative
yeah.
genius, like a creative genius. I did not know until doing a deep dive, and I was like, wow, her skill with production and engineering and mixing and just the vocal layering. She made an entire album out of jungle sounds. Like, how many artists do you know can do that? So she has a really special ear, and I admire that, and that's something that I want to develop over time with working. It's like I want to be a general, though I specify in singing and performance. Like I've been taking these past couple of years to learn the ins and outs of what it's like to produce in the studio and what it's like to record and mix and master your own vocals or per se the technical side of it. And so yeah, they really inspired me a lot.
Gotcha. While I've been doing this, multiple people have said Beyonce as a key component role model for their start of their career. And Imogen Heap is a good answer too. I listen to a lot of like hip hop, and I've heard her sampled in many songs. So
Yeah,
she's a legend
iconic,
for sure.
right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I want to talk a little about like the creative process that you go through. I know you mentioned a little bit about your storytelling and like your writing of the song.
Yeah.
Does most of your music come from like a personal storytelling like element, or like where do you come from the lyrics basically?
Yeah, all of it does. All of it. Um, and the funny thing is that I don't know all the time that it does until I listen to it after. And
Mhm.
I'm like, wait, that relates a lot to what I'm going through. But in the moment when I'm writing, that's not what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about what sounds good. Oh, okay, these lyrics rhyme. These lyrics sound good. That's a cool entendre. That's a cool way to approach the melody. But after I listen to it, I'm like, wait, this actually resonates with my life and everything I've been going through. And so I feel like music is this really weird form of therapy for me where I'm able to really translate all of my ideas, all of my dwellings, everything I'm going through, all of my emotions through whatever I'm writing. And in the moment, I'm just like, ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I listen to it,
Mhm.
I'm like, wow, let me go sit on the couch and lay my feelings out because the song did it for me and I didn't know. So yeah, it definitely comes from a personal space.
Gotcha. Yeah. And like you were mentioning, like the sort of subconscious, like you don't even realize that you're
Yep.
being vulnerable, but then you realize it later. That's awesome to kind of piece that together. What would you say is so for this song, for instance? Did the melody come first, or did you start writing the lyrics and then you piece together with the production? How did this sort of fall into place?
The melody came first. When I well, the beat was first. The beat was a pre-made beat that I listened to, and I was just kind of
Mhm.
gauging I was gauging it, and I just started to flow in the melody. Na, 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 na. And I have a couple of audio audio recordings on my iPhone from the
Mhm.
first couple of takes that I did it actually, and it's just like a vibe. It's just the melody, and then I went in and I started to do lyrics, and something about the beat just reminded me of 505 by Arctic Monkeys, and it subconsciously came to the front of my mind. And as I'm saying it, I'm just like, okay, cool, 505, what does that mean to me? And so let me just translate myself into this world. And I just started getting really sexy with it and really groovy with it. And it came out really nice in my opinion. I love the song.
Mhm. What would you say is the most, difficult part of creating a song that you've dealt with over years?
The post overanalyzation of it. That's the hardest
Yeah.
part. That's the hardest part in my opinion. It's not necessarily the creative aspect of it because I can create. Sometimes lyrics are tough, but only when I think about it too much. But I feel like the hardest part generally with every track that I make is getting over it and try and actually putting it out. Because when it's done, I can hear it, I can love it, I can listen to it. But then the thought of putting it out for other people to listen to it just immediately just snatches it all away. And so the idea is to get over that, and I think of it as like a sensor in my brain that's constantly trying to, stop me in my tracks from doing things that are going to lead me to achieve my goals. And so I just like speed kills that. So the moment
Mhm.
it's done, I'm like, okay, let's get it recorded. Let's put it out. I don't care. Let's get it out there as quick as possible so I don't have time to think about it. Because if I do think about it, it's going to sit in the files for another year and no one's going to hear
Yeah.
it. So that's the hardest part.
Mhm. What advice would you give to other people who are creating music and then starting kind of struggling with how to approach releasing their first single, or what advice would you give them to someone who wants to make music?
The advice that really helped me, which was don't listen to people telling you about what you need to get it done. You don't need anything. My main struggle and main blockage was thinking that, oh, I needed $1 million setup to release music. I needed to pay the most well experienced engineer to record my tracks. I need to make sure I'm getting the most high quality beat that nobody has used before. And oh, I need to make the production myself. No, I didn't need any of that. I didn't need any of that.
Mhm.
I got a cheap microphone. I had headphones that were pre-used from Amazon and a little small closet space that barely fit my body. I was crouched up while recording the track. But I was so passionate about proving to myself. And that's the other thing. Set goals for yourself instead of trying to prove to other people. I feel like the strongest driving force is to prove something to yourself because I said, "Oh, I'm gonna release music this year. I'm gonna get it done," and I got it done. Did I see how I
Mhm.
was gonna get it done before it happened? No, I did not. But it happened, and that's something that I'm always gonna be proud of. Is that just take that leap, take that risk, and go for it. No matter what you have, it does not need to be perfect. It does not need to be polished. Just do it and put it out there, because you're gonna look back at it someday and realize, if I hadn't taken that step, I would not be where I am today. So that's how I feel about that.
Yeah, that's great advice. You mentioned being an independent artist. I would like to ask, do you feel there are do you feel there are more pros than cons, or how do you feel about the whole relationship with being an independent artist versus working for someone like a label?
I think it really depends on what you want out of your career. I feel like it's definitely what you want out of your career. If you want to make hits and be super duper big, then obviously going to a label might be the best option for you, because they're going to make it happen. If you want to make music from your soul, if you want to be able to put your heart on a platter and show it to people and build an audience from that emotional connection, then I think being an independent artist is the best choice. In my mind, I think that both has their pros and cons, and I'm not against, signing, because ultimately I think that artists are some of the vessels for very strong messages that people need to hear. And
Hmm.
so when you're making your art and you're an independent artist and you're not really seeing much growth and you really want it, I don't think that signing to a label is gonna, kill that. Because I think there are ways you can spin it. I do feel like it really depends on what you want out of your career.
Yeah, that's a good answer. How would you describe your sound to someone who's never heard your music, or what can they expect to hear for the future?
Well, I struggled with this a lot. I struggled, but I practice. I came prepared. Um,
Okay.
my sound for me personally is like dark alternative R&B. I
Hmm.
started off in R&B. Well, I started off in gospel, growing up in the church.
Hmm.
Shifted to R&B and soul because it was most related. I shifted to country, and then I went back to what I felt like was natural, which was more of an alternative sound with rock elements. However, I'm never going to be able to escape R&B, because it's just the way my voice is set up. Like I have a very melismatic voice, and it flows really well on top of a lot of R&B tracks. And so I like to make a fusion of that. I take my voice and I use it in very um what's the word? Unconventional ways for the way it's set up. So I love, love, love alternative dark R&B with elements of rock and hip hop,
Hmm.
metal, and roots and blues music. I feel like that's my sound. So it's dark alternative R&B with a whole lot of other stuff attached to it. But you'll know it once you hear it. It's distinct, in my opinion. It's distinct.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna. One of my next questions: what do you feel separates you from other artists? And I think you can touch on this more, but that sort of blend of fusing genres together, or how else would you answer that?
I feel like what sets me apart from other artists is not trying to separate so far from other artists. I feel like that's a big, big, big misconception that a lot of people do, is they feel like in order for me to be different, I have to stick out. Not necessarily. I know there's a lot of people who feel like they need to create their own genre, or they need to have the most outlandish name or the most outlandish act or the most outlandish style. And that's all valid. However, what I found to work best for me is what looks the best, what feels the best, and what sounds the best coming from me. That's what sets me apart. So it's not necessarily about trying to create my own lane and, oh my God, I just want to be so different. And they did that, I can't do it. If they did that, I can't do it. I have to be unique. I have to be original, because ultimately,
Yeah,
whatever I'm channeling from any influence or any genre is going to be unique, because it's coming from my unique perspective. Nobody has lived the life that I lived. Nobody has had the experiences that I've had, and nobody will ultimately be me. So it doesn't matter what inspirations I take. It doesn't matter what genre I do, because it's coming from me. That's what makes it stand out, because it's coming through my personal blender, as I call it, and it's like a fingerprint. I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, chords might
mhm,
be the same, subject matter might be the same. It may blend into other people's music a little bit. Other people may have similar music as me, but because I'm staying true to what I want and true to who I am, that's what makes me different. Because a lot of people aren't true to who they are, and that's what blends them in like sheep. And I feel like for me to stand out, I need to be authentic.
yeah, absolutely. That's a great answer. like I completely understand that. Individuality is a huge component of music, but
Hmm.
like you said, it's not. It can feel inauthentic if someone is not sounding like themselves, and if that involves sounding taking influence from other artists, or like you said, using similar chords or using similar instrumentals, then so
Hmm.
be it. Right?
Yeah.
I respect that. We have a question from Carlos in the chat. He says, if you were to have a team, would you prefer it to consist of a lot of people with one responsibility or a tight knit group of people with multiple responsibilities that are consistent?
A tight knit group of people with multiple responsibilities that are consistent. That are consistent. I love small circles. I've never been one to have like 1,000 friends. I'll be honest. I work
Mhm.
best in intimate settings because if I want a team of people that are working with me, not for me, but with me, then I want everybody around me to be somebody I can call up anytime and be like, "Hey, girl, what you doing? Oh, okay, you free? All right, you want to work? Let's, just have this deep, intimate connection with everyone." I don't. I feel like you can't really do that when you're working with such a large group of people with an overall task. So I really love the idea of tight knit, small groups, in-house creations, in my opinion.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, was gonna remember. I was gonna ask about your pivot into country music. Is that something that you would ever dabble back into in the future, or is that was that a phase? Was that a phase left in the past?
God. Um, I could see myself tapping back into it. I feel like I was just having this conversation the other day about the different aesthetics that I've embodied over my life. There's been
Hmm.
a lot. There's been a lot of phases, a lot of aesthetics, and the music that I've made during those times shows. And I feel like each and every one of them comes from a part of me. So when I was in the country era, because if you look through my page, if you go far enough, there's a lot of country stuff. There's me posing in cowboy hats, and it might be. I don't think there's a snippet of the song I made, but I was in that era for a while, and it's because my people come from the South, Mississippi, Louisiana. My father's from
Hmm.
Louisiana, and so I kind of have that reverence and that love for country and for deep Southern culture. And so, because of my yearning to connect with my ancestors, is where I kind of delved into country music. Um, and now I'm just
Yeah.
kind of rolling on a new side and taking a look at me separate from my family and me separate from my ancestors. Who am I? And so the music that I'm making now, it's me. It's me. The country music was more of like an ode to my people, ode to my family, and I'm never against going back to that. But the music I'm
Yeah.
making now is me. It's who I am. It's what I am.
Gotcha. I want to get into your um, selling career and also your social media image. Your I have a question about that. Sort of modeling, branding, and fashion. Has that world influenced your? So you're also involved in finance, essay.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah. So you're also involved in modeling and fashion.
Yeah.
Would you say that um, experience in another element of kind of entertainment and that sort of world has influenced your confidence as an artist?
Yeah, 100%. Um, Music came first, so I started performing on stages with for music first. Actually, no, it was
Mhm.
dance. It was dance before music, and then it was music, and then it was fashion. So I've had a lot of trades over my lifetime. Okay, and I still have a lot more, but
Yeah.
yeah, fashion on one end it does increase the confidence, but on the other end it is a whole different world. When you're doing fashion
Mhm.
shows, the focal point isn't necessarily on you, it's on the clothes, it's on things, so you have something to hide behind. But
Yeah.
when you're performing music, it's you're pouring your heart out to the stage, so there's a difference there. But walking runways and even being invited to Chicago Fashion Week and walking the runway as when they invite the crowd up to walk. I was lucky enough, fortunate enough, but one of my friends got called up and they said, "You're coming with me." I said, "Oh, okay." Um, Even that was a surreal experience. It was surreal and it was lovely. But yeah, all of it increases my confidence. It increases my inner strength and my art. I feel like I'm ready to take on the world and take anybody out that stands in my way. So it does definitely do that.
Mhm. Yeah. Like it's like a little. they can be hand in hand, but they can also be like separate worlds. Do you think that
Yeah.
your visual style is like just as important to your music, or sort of this visual image that you want to portray? Is that super? Like you mentioned aesthetics recently. Would you say that's important to you as your image?
Well, yes, yes. I'm a visionary, and so typically I say that I have the gift to see music. People might not understand that, but it's like I see music. Like
Hmm.
when I wrote 50509, which is the single I just released, I saw it before I heard it. Before it was
Gotcha.
recorded, when I just wrote the lyrics and I just was singing along to the instrumental, I saw it. I saw the imagery. I saw the lights. I saw the scenery of the song. So I see before anything. And so when it comes down to my visual appearance and my style, or just my image, that's very important because I feel like it's wearing my music on the outside. It's like it's telling you what's coming before you hear what's coming. You see what's coming before you hear.
Yeah. Okay. I have a couple questions about social media and sort of your stance on a couple of questions, that outlet.
Uh-huh.
Do you think that social media lets artists build an audience before they even release music? Do you think that's
Hmm.
an advantage, or does it create extra pressure?
Both. 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 I think that on one hand, yeah, it's an advantage because now it's in the artist's hands to be able to build their audience. And I just started doing this too because I have an alternative page that I've been posting on every
Mhm.
day. And the growth I'm seeing is like really great. Like I see people drawing to my page, and I see myself building an audience in real time. But at the same time, it does kind of put extra pressure on you, especially when you're the type that has the mindset that, oh, I want to, especially if you want to get signed or if you want to, get some type of advantage in a sense. It's kind of like, yikes, if I don't have it, will labels want to sign me? Because I know a lot of labels, they'll be like, well, you have to have X amount of this or that. You have to have an audience already before you kind of
Yeah,
are able to get the money put behind you because they want to make sure you're a secure investment. So yeah, creates pressure, but at the same time, it's a definite advantage. I love it.
yeah, and like you mentioned, I think that's very real. The pressure from labels to have a certain social media presence. Does that do you think that's a challenge for a lot of artists these days to sort of balance being a musician, but then also having a presence online? Or do you think if like the real music will lead to success?
I think, ooh, that's a hard one. I feel like on one end, how I see it is that to build a true, like a stable audience on social media, you have to give it your all.
Mhm.
People really misinterpret the idea of a social media presence. They think, oh, you just post a couple pictures, post a couple videos, and people are going to draw to you. No, you have to be consistent. It's really like a 9 to 5, if I'm being honest. You have to post very consistently. You have to, it's a lot of boxes you need to check off. And so, in itself, it's a full time job. So, it can be very hard trying to balance building a social media presence, but also trying to balance creating true art. But at the end of the day, I've seen people that have just been honest and 100% themselves, authentic, and have gotten, viral off of a small clip of them just being vulnerable and authentic. And that's led them to greater and greater things. And so, again, a little bit of both. I'm on the edge about that.
Absolutely. One more question from the chat. Oh, this is a good question, actually. Do you think in order to be a successful artist, people need to be able to dabble in different genres in the modern age?
Oh, depends on the genre. Depends on the genre. I study like what I call the wheel of music. So I
Okay.
kind of start to see through listening uh, to mainstream and what's being mostly pushed, what genres are being more prioritized than others. Hip hop is huge. Well, specifically rap is huge.
Yeah.
Pop music is huge as well, and R&B has kind of a modern resurgence going on here. So I feel like it does expand your versatility to be able to dabble, um, but I don't think it's necessary per se because when you, especially if you're first starting off and you want to be successful, you have to be consistent in whatever genre. You have to be consistent because if you don't, then your audience is going to be all over the place. Especially like if you take it back to building an online presence and an audience. In order to build a consistent audience of people, you want to be consistent because these people are going to be, lock-eyed on whatever was the most popular content you put out. And so you
Mhm.
most likely want to continue to make content that is similar to that and make music that is similar to that and put out art that is similar to that. But I'm a wild card. I'm a Sagittarius, so of course I'm gonna dabble, and I think that that's gonna work out in my favor. I don't know. Only
Yeah,
time will tell.
absolutely. I had a question planned ahead, but I feel like now's a good time. Do you think that artists spend too much time chasing trends instead of trying to create timeless music?
Yes, yeah, I see it all the time. I get ads like crazy scrolling through Instagram, TikTok, of artists that are promoting these different artist brands and oh we want you to post 50 million times a day and you need
Yeah.
to be on the trends and you need to it's this specific 15-second increment you need to put it on and you need to syndicate it over and over and over again. That's the only way people are going to want to listen to you. And it's like I'm so against the grain with that. Who wants to do that?
Mhm.
Not me. I mean, I'm growing more comfortable with social media and putting myself out there more. So it's becoming fun to post and actually be open and honest on the internet. But ultimately, I think that the focus should be on the music. I think that a lot of artists are missing that. But at the end of the day, to be successful is really a game of strategy. So I can't knock it because a lot of people are being successful from that. And later on down the path, they get the chance and the privilege to focus on the actual quality of the music. But I feel like in the meat of the time and in the meat and potatoes of when you're really growing and like etching further and further up the ladder, the trends, I guess they kind of take over a little bit. It makes me sad, but that's the way it is.
Yeah. And
Somebody
like you
can't break the
mentioned,
wheel though.
yeah, absolutely. And like you mentioned with the problem of social media is that if you are inauthentic, but that moment blows up, like you said, it's hard to differentiate from what got you popular. And so people
Yeah.
will become to expect that sort of that song or whatever that got you famous. They kind of expect that to continue. And if you're not enjoying doing that, then you've locked yourself into a big trap.
Again, alignment here because I talked about this too the other day. um, about how I was like, I hate that artists always have to be shoved in the box. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, you may have gotten popular off of one thing, but why does that mean that you have to continue in that direction their entire career? And this is why I admire people like Beyonce, because as we see in modern day, she's saying that, look, I've established myself in so many different ways. There's no way I'm gonna not ever be famous again. I'm Beyonce. So at this point in my career, I'm going to choose to go in whatever direction I want to, not because I want views, not because I want streams, but because it's authentic to me and I have a message to give and something to say, and I'm gonna do it. And so I feel like more artists, once they solidify themselves in, success and their respect of the fan bases and whatnot, I think they should start dabbling off. I think worrying
Hmm.
about who's going to support you when you're already there, it's hooey. You should just throw it away because it's like there's always going to be somebody who's unhappy with what you do. So it's best to go in your own entrance, in your own interest, because once you do, you're going to find so many other people that love that. I know it's hard to want to feel like, oh, but these are my day ones. But if they don't respect the direction you're going in, do they are they really supporting you? In my
Yeah.
mind, it's no. So I think you should pivot in whatever
Yeah.
direction is best for you.
Yeah. That's a great answer. And like you mentioned, I think I could be wrong about this, and you probably know this, but I think when Beyonce did shift it to go to her country album, that was when she got awarded with Album of the Year, right,
Yeah.
for Grammy. So there
Yep.
you go.
After 25 years. After 25
Yeah.
years. But taking that leap and breaking down those doors, I remember it because it was like so many of the underground country artists that I was listening to. Tanner Adele, I love Tanner Adele. I'm a Buckle Bunny, that's her.
Mhm.
Um, Brittany Spencer, Shabuzi, and many
Yeah.
more. once she made that album and it topped country charts for the first time, being a black woman to top the country charts for the first time in like history, it opened the door. And then Shabuzi took on the country charts as number one of the first black people to do, to top that chart
Mhm.
for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And so it was such a historical moment for me and in music in general, especially black music. And so I think that there's such favor in doing what you want to do, even if it seems that nobody else is going to support you and you're going so far against the grain. At the end of the day, I feel like you're going to be rewarded. So I think just take the risk. What about it? I'm always that type of person. Do it.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter.
absolutely. Let's transition briefly. I want to talk about some challenges that you may have faced or that come with trying to pursue music. What would you say is the biggest challenge that you faced so far in your music career?
Funding.
Mm,
Funding. As a college student, the funds.
yeah,
It's always the
yeah,
funds. However, I've really found ways to get around that. I found ways to build connections with people, and through connection, you can receive favor, and through favor, you can receive the fulfillment of a vision. And so, by building connections and being honest and authentic with people, and just saying like, "Look, we're all trying to make it here. Let's make it together. Let's all get our names in the room. Let's all get our foot in the door." I feel like that's helped me a lot, and also investing in just a small studio space. This is the studio space. This is the studio
mhm,
space. Just a small studio space where I can come in here and record songs. And even if I'm not recording to like perfect and put out, I can record at least a really, really nice rough draft and then take it to an engineer and be like, look, this is what I want. Name a price. We'll negotiate. And because I already know what I want, I'll go right in there and just clear it out the park. And I feel like that
yeah,
also helps budget a lot, especially because a lot of engineers they charge per hour. So when you're able to just know what you want and go in the studio and take it all out in one go, especially because I've already had practice with my own studio, that kind of helps me get around a lot of the financial issues of pursuing music because it's very expensive to pursue music on a high scale. So there
absolutely.
are ways. When there's a will, there's a way.
Mhm. Would you say that you have experienced writer's block when writing a song, and if so, how'd you overcome that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of tracks I have that are still sitting in demos. There's a lot of tracks I had that I lost from my old phone when it
Oh,
stopped working on me and I didn't have anything backed up. And so that was devastating because I was like, oh my God, I had so much good, so many good bones on there that just kind of vanished.
mhm,
But typically, I'm taking on this new perspective of just pushing through it regardless. Like even if it sounds trash, like if nothing is rhyming and nothing is sounding like it's piecing itself together, just do it. Just make it through. Just make the song. If it's bad, it's okay because you're allowed to be a bad artist. To be an artist in general means that you're willing to be a bad artist. And so when you're willing to be a bad artist, when you're willing to create whatever and let it flow out, it kind of clears the block naturally because it's like, okay, whatever was blocking you is already out. You don't have to worry about making anything worse than what you already did. Let that be the template of like, okay, now that it's all out the window, now my mind's a bit fresh. Oh, this idea is coming to me. Oh, these lyrics are coming to me. So I think just you have to push through the block no matter what comes out and stop being so embarrassed of what may come out because at the end of the day, it's art. And it's whether it's good or bad, it's valid and it's meant to be created.
yeah. Now I want to ask a little bit about looking ahead, kind of what's on your vision board, bucket list for the future.
A vision board. For the remainder of this year, I have this single is the predecessor to a body of work. My first EP. That was
Mhm.
actually I have a list of self-documented videos of me talking to myself on my phone all the way from like January to now about my layout and how I was going to release this EP. And the
Mhm.
craziest, most aligned part of this entire thing is that I told myself in January that I wanted to release an EP this year. I wanted to release music this year, and 50509, the song I just released, was on there. And I had made a whole planned out sheet in January of dates that I was going to release each song.
Mhm.
Throughout the semester of school, I was swamped. I felt like I had no hope left. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get this out. I don't know how this is going to work. And to my
Yeah.
surprise, when choosing a date for the song to come out, I was like, wait a minute, I'm right on time. I'm right on schedule. And I looked back on the original planning sheet. I was like, wow. So the single came out on the exact day that it planned to come out, way back when in January. And I think that that was just like me setting my intention, like, hey, I'm going to do it. It's going to happen regardless. And it did, even though I had no idea how. So for the remainder of the year, I want to get that project out, the full EP. Yes, it's announced now. It's a full EP attached to the first song that came out. And for the next couple of years or so, really just honing my craft, getting on as many stages as possible, being as vulnerable as possible, releasing more music, old stuff and new, and just establishing myself as an artist, covering the groundwork. Chicago is a huge city, but it's also small. So there's a lot of reoccurring opportunities and a lot of people you're going
Yeah,
to run into over and over again. So it's all about building those connections, covering that groundwork, and getting it out.
absolutely. If you could perform anywhere in the world tomorrow, where would it be?
Oh, I forgot the name. I forgot the name. But it's this beautiful, 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 like, I don't know what to call it. It's like a bunker. It's like a circle stage in like the middle of a river in Chicago. I forgot the freaking name of it, but you can watch from like almost like a pier or a bunker. But bands literally get on a boat and they go to like the middle of the river on this platform, plug all the instruments up, and they perform there. And I just think that is so dope because I'm a nature freak. I love nature. I love natural environments. I feel like if it really puts some umph into whatever I'm doing. And so to perform in a landscape like that, I can have the people on the phone tonight, if we're honest. What? Bring me. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's where I'll
that's a
go.
great answer. Um, okay, I want to ask you a couple of questions like that could be a little bit deeper or something that is a little more personal.
Hmm.
What's something people assume about you that's completely wrong?
Ooh, that I have it all figured out.
Mm.
Ooh, that is a tough one, really. I noticed it when stepping into college. I noticed it when just anywhere I go because I carry this presence with me. I always present myself well wherever I go, and I stand out, especially in the arts because I've been doing it for so long. So taking mainly arts classes in college, going in there, not to toot my own horn, but I blew a lot of classes out the park. And with doing that, a lot of people come to me assuming I know all the answers. They come to me assuming I have it all figured out. They come to me assuming that I just am this, superhero coming to save the day with my musical skills and everything it's like, I'm not that all the time. Sometimes I
Mm.
don't know. Sometimes I don't have it figured out. Sometimes, a lot of the time, I fear my future. I have really had recovering from really, crippling anxiety that stopped me from wanting to go out and pursue things on my own because I felt like something bad's going to happen. I don't have it all figured out. I'm just a person. And it's really, it puts a lot of pressure on me to feel like I have to be this perfected version, digestible version of myself that everybody else sees. It's like, oh my God, Cam, the superstar, you got it all figured out. Girl, no, I don't. I make it
Yeah,
look good because I carry everything with pride, but that is something that I really wish people kind of got and understood that look, I'm just a person, just like everybody else. I'm vulnerable. I have my moments, I have my times. I'm not perfect. I'm not fully healed, but I'm on the process. I'm on the journey.
yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think that's a great sort of reminder to everybody, especially nowadays, like when we talked about social media. You're
Hmm.
sort of seeing a cultivated image of everybody living, their best life or whatever, showing you what they want you to see. But
And might I
like you said,
add,
go ahead.
that's
Yeah,
It's actually why I started my second Instagram page. I wish there was a way to link it. I might have to put it in here somewhere. But
I'll give you an opportunity to shout it out at the end.
okay. So I started that page because I felt like this main page was growing a little stagnant because of the fact that I post mainly modeling and stuff over here. This is what gets the most traction. But when I would
Yeah,
post, videos of me singing and videos of me, you know, some of the songs that I've written, I realized the engagement wasn't really there. I realized people didn't really pay too much attention. And so I never really felt comfortable being as bubbly as I am now. This is me. on
Mhm.
this page per se, because I really felt like people didn't care, or people that's not what people wanted to see. They loved the perfected, curated version of myself that was always on the runway, that always had a fly outfit on, that was always winning. And so I started the other page to just kind of sing, be me, put the songs that I write, put the songs that I like to sing, especially if it's a genre that I feel like a lot of people that I know in my personal life are like, what? That's trash. No, not to me. I want to sing it. So why
Mhm.
can't I? And
Yeah.
on that page, I've just really been seeing the support, and it really, really, really takes me. So I love it.
Okay, I want to ask you a question that I imagine um, popped into the mind of some independent artist. If a major label offered you a deal tomorrow, what would have to be on that contract for you to sign?
Creative control.
Mhm.
Creative control. For me, it's not about the money, because I understand that the money is going to come naturally.
Yeah.
Um, and I know music is typically seen as something that does not garner that much money. However, I think otherwise. But regardless, it would have to be mainly creative freedom over everything, because I'm all for being a part of a label if the label is open to my constructive criticism of what I want to portray myself as and what I want to release. I don't want to be a puppet. I don't want anybody to curate my image for me. I don't want anyone to
Mhm.
make me, oh, sing this, do that instead, go in this direction, because if it's inauthentic, it will show. I I really feel like I have a built-in honesty cloak on my back. I just can't ever hide. I can't fake the funk. And so I won't sell if I have to be something that I'm not. I won't do numbers if I have to be something that I'm not. I have to be
Yeah.
able to at least have some level of authenticity and control behind what I'm doing in order for it to work. So, creative
Yeah.
control is what has to be on that contract.
Absolutely. I want to ask you like a little bit of a question that I feel is becoming more talked about every day. And being that you are in both fields, modeling and making music,
Mhm.
what are your thoughts on artificial intelligence, sort of becoming a huge component of both industries?
I roll. I
Mm.
roll. I don't like AI. I don't like artificial intelligence in the arts fields. Um, I think that no, yeah, no. There's just no way I can even try to make it sound ethical in my brain, because I don't like it. I feel like it forces people to not, or it grants people the ability to not have to think, to not have to feel. If they can
Mhm.
just put it into AI and have, oh, spit out this song, spit out these lyrics, spit out. No, it takes away from the humanity. I've heard many AI songs before, and the thing that they're missing, I'm not, and I'll be honest, they sound good. They sound
Yeah.
good, but they don't feel good. It feels soulless, because guess what? AI does not have a soul. Robots don't have a
Yeah.
soul. So for me personally, as an artist, the best music comes from soul. The best art comes from the human lived experience, which is only capable through a human soul. So no to AI. I don't think I could ever make it ethical. I mean, some people use it and they use it well in different ways and fashions, but for me personally, I just choose to stay away from it. If there were ever a way that it was ethical, that I could use it in a way that did not sacrifice my creativity or my ability to think for myself, then I mean, I don't know. Maybe the world's changing rapidly, but as of now and what I can perceive myself to be in a long time, it's a no. It's a no.
Mhm. Yeah, great answer. We'll transition into the sort of our ambition segment for ambitious entertainment. I have to ask you, what does ambition mean to you?
Ambition means getting it done by all means necessary. Being um, gung ho on what you want done and what you want to achieve without giving up. And I think that to be an artist, to be in the music industry or the entertainment industry as a whole, you're going to need a whole lot of that plus audacity, because it's not going to come out any without those things.
Yeah. How would you say your definition of success has it changed over the years, or would you say it's still similar to when you were first starting out?
When I first started out, success meant platinum record, stadium tours, Grammys, awards, reverence. Now it's freedom,
Mhm.
control of self, control of art and expression, and being able to live life without giving a care. And also inspiring and giving, being able to extend whatever hand, whether it's money or whether it's, reverence to other artists and allowing them to grow as well. Because when I get successful to the space that I want to be in, I have no other choice in my mind but to help other people achieve that too. Because what else would I be doing with my life if I'm not breaking down doors for other people like me to make it, especially if I already know that it's hard for people like me to make it in some capacities. So it's important for
Mhm.
me to open those doors up. So success for me means freedom, control of self, control of art, and um, the ability to help others thrive.
Mhm. Okay, we're on our final segment here. I'm just going to ask you a couple rapid fire questions. Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay. What is your favorite album of all time?
Lemonade, Beyonce, 2016.
Yeah, that makes sense. Would you would you say you primarily make music? I understand that you're a student,
Mhm.
so this may answer it, but do you primarily create music early in the morning or at night?
In between, liminal space, between maybe 11 and 4 in the
Oh,
morning.
okay.
Yeah, it's up really late. So I don't know. Maybe night, morning, midnight time. I don't know.
Okay. Fair enough. What is your favorite Chicago food spot?
Harold's Chicken. Yes.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
classic. Um, Carlos from the chat. If you had to open for an artist, which artist first comes to mind?
Dochi. Love
Good
Dochi.
pick. What would you say is one word that describes your music?
Mm. A spectacle.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that's all the questions that I have for you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Before we before we let you go, though, please take this chance to promote anything you have coming up, where people can find you on your socials, and yeah, take the floor.
So, um, my artist name on streaming platforms, so this would be Spotify, YouTube Music, and Apple Music, is Angelus, Angelleus. Some people butcher it, but that's how it's spelled. Um, There's an EP in the works. I have a date, but I'm not ready to release a date just yet. But there's an EP in the
Soon,
works,
soon.
so just keep
Yeah.
your ear to the streets about that coming out. I do have an alternative page that I post mainly covers and videos and more personal content, and that is the THEE camcorder, just how it's spelled on here, and that's all.
Gotcha. Yeah. Please. So everybody, please go follow him, and we'll be awaiting that EP when it drops. But yeah, I really enjoyed talking to you. It was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. I enjoyed talking to you too. Thank you for this opportunity. I appreciate it.